One of the things I should also mention, we talk about retribution from China. You know, one of the bad things about running a $500 billion surplus of the United States is you don't have many arrows in your quiver. They have about $100 billion worth of imports for the United States. So ostensibly they could slap tariffs on them, but the impact would be but a fraction of what we could do in this country to Chinese imports. The other issue raised is they could go for the nuclear option and debase, devalue, whatever you want to call it, their currency. Now, that, of course, would have a global impact, and that could be more far-reaching. We just don't know. What we do know is that average investors don't like tariffs, especially the ones like this, that could directly hit them. They just don't see it for the time being. They might. Now, oddly enough, the president has been enjoying unusual support among prominent Democrats like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, maybe very sensitive to their union base that says that China has been taking advantage of it, and the president should, to quote Chuck Schumer, hang tough. Let's get the read on all of that from GOP fundraiser Noelle Nikpour, Democratic strategist Andrew Feldman. Andrew, ended with you. Do you agree with that Chuck Schumer view, hang tough?
Look, I think we're dealing with a delicate situation here, because what we're continuing to see is that the president is doing what he does best, which is trying to govern via tweet, and that doesn't work very well, and I think ultimately hurts the American people. So this way...
Wait, that's not what I asked.
Well, I think
Do you agree with Chuck Schumer said, hang tough with the Chinese, whether you're tweeting it,
what
saying it?
What I think we know is that Democrats and people, but doesn't matter what party you are, people in the Midwest, people in the manufacturing center have been hurt by China, and I think that some of the presidents...
So they welcome him being tough.
It's not necessarily all or nothing, right? Because I think he's been tough, right? But his policies, on the other hand, have hurt a lot of those same people that wanted him to be tough on China, right? We saw the soybean tariffs earlier.
You're right, but the farmers. But it's oddly enough, unions to a group have been very supportive of this approach, whether it's wise longer term.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we to make of that?
Well, you know what's interesting, and I'm looking at this through a political lens, and it's the fact that Joe Biden, who seems to be, maybe very well likely the front runner, one of the biggest factors, and one of the reasons why I think Trump pushed it forward and won was, you know, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, these union states that normally go blue. Well, Joe Biden can appeal to those, and he's already gotten some union support. What would put that in jeopardy but something...
He has not criticized the China policy.
No.
He has said...
Right.
Here's what he said, that could boomerang on it.
Yeah.
And you could help me with this, Andrew, that we look at China as a competitor, but they're not. It's laughable. So he kind of dismissed them, and I wonder if that comes back to bite him.
We already saw some Democrats not agreeing with Joe Biden on that, right? Bernie Sanders, et cetera. But I think what we have to remember here is it does matter how you go about diplomacy, right? And President Trump, the way he goes about it, ends up coming back and hurting the same families that he had talking points on to try to excite.
Well, we don't know how this is going to end up.
But
let me ask you this. If he gets a deal, a verifiable deal, you do exactly what you say in this deal. That's a huge win for him, right?
But we've already seen it hurt a lot of these working class families in the Midwest, right? I've talked about this on your show before.
It's really, to be fair, been focused on farmers,
to some
and
extent.
we tried to offset that with, farm credits. You're quite right. But beyond that, it really hasn't.
But one other thing to add in, because we've talked before on your show about what happened in Lordstown with GM, right? And GM said in part that they closed that plant because of the tariffs, right? I'm saying, and that GM plant, that was a devastation to the people.
But now that plant is going to be sold, and 400 jobs are coming back.
400 is not the 1,200 they lost, Neil, or how that affected the schools. And we'll see. I just don't think...
We picked up 4,000 manufacturing jobs in the latest report.
I just don't think that we are...
You're just not going to give the president...
No, I just don't think the president is winning over...
You're talking like a Democratic strategist.
I don't think he's winning over...
Okay, fine. All right, Noelle, is he going... Republicans, too, are they leaping at this and making assumptions this is going to be pay dirt for him.
Well, maybe. This is the conversation for today, right now, today. And what you said earlier, Neil, is going to be true, and it's going to help Donald Trump. If there is a deal that comes out of this, if his strong stance, if it works and there is a good deal for the American people that come out of this, then I think that the strategy is good. But this is the conversation
And by the
for
way,
today.
any deal, I think, to Andrew's point, Aaron, you need Congress to approve.
Yes, you do.
And we already see with the one with Mexico and Canada,
but
that's not a slam dunk.
No.
I just think that we have to see what happens, because you saw what happened this morning to the futures markets, right, and to the market, because President Trump decides to yell and scream on Twitter. And I just think we've seen this for 2 years. That strategy has not worked.
But volatility is good in a market. I mean, nobody really likes.
And by the way, since this first action to go after China, we're still at 5 or 6% on all the major markets. I mean, you could cite a variety of other reasons, but.
We've also seen in
you don't like his tweeting.
No, I don't like his tweeting. I know you share that,
don't.
Neil. But my other issue here is that he promised to bring these jobs back to these
work. April jobs.
Forget about unemployment, right? Because what we have to,
yes,
because it's not just about the unemployment numbers in this country. It's about wage growth. And
Did you talk about wage growth when Barack Obama was president?
They didn't campaign on that.
Let me tell you something about.
Because the bottom line is, I mean, yeah, you're right on some of the details and the difference between the haves and have-nots, but you cannot argue politics otherwise that we have seen remarkable employment stats, remarkable economics.
We know
that
these,
because of deregulation.
We know that
a lot
these
of the
voters,
economy credits.
We know that this election is going to be decided by the Rust Belt, right? And these Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, and I think that despite what President Trump says, these voters are struggling to make ends meet.
I'm going to put you down as a maybe on this. All right.